The only group, the only party that was at that point working systematically with the people were Hamas. They worked exactly like the PLO did in the 70s, by the way. And even if you look at Hamas tactics of throwing these missiles on Israel, they know it's not going to destroy Israel, it's not going to do anything to Israel. These missiles, by the way, are mobilization factors within the Palestinian society. When you are under occupation, every decision is taken away from you. You cannot move, you don't have a job, you want to have control over your life. And the PLO did that, by the way, in the 70s, where there was armed struggle in Lebanon. We went and we were training and we were all of this. But the PLO also realized it was not really going to liberate Palestine. It was going to mobilize Palestinians to come and join the revolution. And Hamas does that exactly. It does that by sending, that we are armed struggle and men join, and there is this whole thing about, I always say, the weak adopts the vocabulary of the strong, and the strong adopts the vocabulary of the weak. If you look at Israel every day, they don't recognize us, nobody loves us, we want peace, and they have the biggest army in the Middle East, they have nuclear weapon, they sell weapon to all the world, And yeah, I didn't want to say that, but, and listen to the Israeli public radio, listen to the military government, we have we extend our hand to the Palestinians, we want open borders. Of course, they build a wall around themselves, but they want to be part of the Middle East. We want to be part of the Middle East, but we hate the Arabs, we hate the Muslims, we hate the Christians, we hate you all. But we want to be part of the Middle East, and we want peace, peace, peace. But take land, more land, destroy the houses, don't allow them. This is what Israel is all about. Israel is giving itself the image of the weak part in the Middle East. They are scared of us, scared. It's not obvious, scared of what exactly? Of what? Even that stupid missile that Hamas sends have not killed one Israeli person, by the way. Has not. And when the UN comes to look at Gaza and the horror that happened in Gaza and the thousands of people were killed in Gaza, they send a mission to go both parts, to look at the traumatized Israelis on the other side, because psychology is very important on that side. If you ask a Palestinian, any Palestinian, you want a one-state solution or two-state solution, and I am always asked by that. I always say, my heart wants a one-state solution, but my brains want a two-state solution. We try to be logical. We were never, I come from Jaffa. How can you believe that I don't want my father's house in Jaffa? I would be lying to you to say I don't want my father's house in Jaffa. Of course I want it, but I was ready, and I am still ready to make the concession for the Israelis just to be able to save the new generation to live in a state, even if it's 1/4 of our homeland, to end that misery in Palestine. But still they haven't accepted. And Hamas comes and say, we will liberate all of Palestine. Of course your heart feels very good. But whether they can do it or not is another question. And unfortunately, I just feel that Hamas took us to 1973. These were the discussions we had. I remember I was a young woman in 73, and my sister would sit down and convince me of the two-state solution, and I would say, no, I want to go back to Jaffa. And of course, I can tell you that the moment we got weak as a Palestinian cause, or we couldn't have an edge, is when Egypt signed a peace agreement. I mean, who are we as Palestinians compared militarily, compared to Israel? How can we dictate a solution on Israel? Can anybody tell me? We have nothing except, of course, our moral and our resilience, and we are there to stay, and our strength, because we know this is our land. We don't debate it. We know facts. We know Arabic is our language, and we know that Palestine is our country. It has been taken away from us, but that, that pains us, but it doesn't us. We don't ask questions. The Israelis wake up every day and ask, is this truly our land? There is a new book I wrote, it's called Murad in Italian, and it will be published in English under the name of Night Hunters, the Night Hunters. But Murad is a boy, he's 21 years old, and he insists he wants to go and work in Israel. Nothing is going to stop me. So every day in Palestine, as I am talking to you, every day at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning, workers wake up and they start walking in the mountains, in the valleys, and they cross that wall by different means, and they make it to Israel. Many of them, the majority of them, are arrested. Now, I decided one night that I am going to join those workers and go with them. So I spent 1 hour in front of the mirror, hiding my hair, putting it, and trying to look very hard like a man. I used to do it very easily when I was thinner and younger, but now it had become a bit more difficult. So anyway, I pretended to be a worker, and I joined the workers. I can tell you I started at 10:30 at night from my house, and a bus came and took us around 2 o'clock midnight. We were 24 workers, and the bus just drove us and threw us in the dark somewhere. And we started walking. There were 24 of us, and soon I started hearing more noises. Then you see another group of 20 workers from here, 30 workers. At the end, we were really hundreds of workers walking in the olive groves, because Palestine is mostly olive groves. And then eventually we face an Israeli army. And we start running back. The Israeli army shoots in the air, they arrest some people. And it goes on and on and on like this. By the time we left at 10 at night, next day in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, we arrived Tahtikva, an Israeli place where they wanted to work. We have walked 35 kilometers, which should have taken us 20 minutes by car or by a normal situation. It took us 18 hours to get there. And what happens? These workers, we were 24, we arrived only 4. 20 were arrested. Now, every day when I open the newspaper, some people are shot dead. So I wanted to live that moment, because no matter I describe to you, it's like me, the workers were described, you can't get what they go through. So I felt I wanted to make that trip to understand what does it mean for a Palestinian to get a living. And they go and walk in what they call the slaves market. They stand there. Of course the Israelis see them, but they want cheap labor, and they want someone who is, would accept 1/10 of the salary. So this is the story of the workers. And of course, this is the story of also a German worker, a Turkish worker in Germany. Or you read every day people in the boats trying to make it to Europe. And I am sure you have similar stories around here. So this is an international, I was told like 30% of the workers in the world are illegal. And what is this illegality? I mean, people basically, what is it? What is the criminal act that Murad and his friends are doing? Basically searching for a living. And I think this is a very a criminal act of humanity to prevent somebody, or to shoot somebody, or to imprison somebody because they're looking for work. And there is anything that really demoralized Palestinians in the last 5 years, it's Hamas, and let's say the conflict between Hamas and Fatah, and the building of that wall. These are 2 very harsh realities, and it has really influenced us. And I just want to end up by saying, we will never see a liberated Palestine except with the international community support. We cannot do it on our own. There is no way that we can beat that country. It's only by the same way South Africa won, by international community. You don't know what it means for the Israelis that the Indians tell them no. But I can tell you, I came from Amman, and 99% of the people on the plane, on that plane, was Israelis coming to India, really. And I really thank you all for your support and love for Palestine. And I tell you, we suffer from isolation, and it is very refreshing for us to feel how much we are loved. Thank you.